Mickey 17. That's right, folks. It has been 6 years since Bong Joon-Ho released his Oscar-winning film, Best Picture film, Parasite. And in that time, everyone's kind of been like, you just got the biggest blank check in Hollywood. Where are you going to go? What you going to do? America wants you to make another movie, buddy. Where are you going to go? Well, I guess it's to Mickey 17, which it's very interesting both making that movie and Bong Joon-Ho making that movie. Because on paper, he is the choice to do it. Like, it is very Snowpiercer in that aspect, but it's also, you just won an award for Parasite. Why would you go over to do Mickey 17? Either way, I'm excited for that. Like, he's one of our greatest auteur directors living today. He's got such a distinctive voice. He likes to play in genre film, which is something very important for a guy like this. And actors want to work with him. So I'm always going to be curious and excited to see what he makes. And I gotta say, Mickey 17, a movie that was worth the wait. This is a film that was delayed a bunch. It was kind of the forgotten child of the Zaslav coming into Warner Brothers and shifting everything along. Got pushed back a lot in 2024, was supposed to come out in January of this year, then got pushed back further and pushed back further, but now it's March, it's here to come out. We got it finally. And I'm so happy we got it. This is the first, big movie, in my opinion, of 2025. And that's weird because we've had bigger movies come out in 2025. But this one just feels like a unique experience that's trying to be a unique experience. And that is a really cool thing to see on a $150 million budget. Yeah, this is a big blockbuster. It's not going to make that much money in its run probably, but that's okay. The fact is, the film got made, and it's out there for you to watch, and you could consume it as much as you want. Because it's a movie that is going to hold up as time goes on. Because it's so specific and very unique in its approach to the entire story it's telling. For a movie on this scale, it did feel very quiet, which is very interesting. It's not what I was expecting. I kind of went in going for this more grandiose, blockbuster, monumental farce. And yes, there are elements of that. But it's more of a story of a guy who realizes maybe his life is worth more than he thought it was. And that's a really interesting idea to present in a movie on this scale. There are a lot of metaphors, a lot of story elements we can get into, and we'll break it down as much as possible. I don't want to spoil too much about this movie, because I do think going into it not knowing what you can expect from it really plays into its themes. It's more like a narrative from a guy's singular point of view, how he sees the world around him, how he gets wrapped up in the world around him, and how romance and love shifts his view on what it could be. Surprisingly romantic movie. I don't think it's surprising that it's very comedic, but one of the things I was thinking of just through its entire tone is this works like a silent film comedy. If you were to take out all of the dialogue and just have people acting like they're big moments through silent film language, it plays just as funny. It's very much a classic Harold Lloyd story. This guy's a little bit goofy, doesn't fit in, people treat him weird, one person likes him, and then the big adventure goes on its way. Very interesting in that aspect, but also very distinctly science fiction. Mickey 17, we have Mickey Barnes, who is played by Robert Pattinson, a guy who I don't have to sell you on. I think you're either in on everything he's doing with his career, or you're just not paying attention. He has proven himself, and Kristen Stewart in that aspect, to branch out of the Twilight teeny bopper era and expand their horizons as actors. And Pattinson did the bright idea of being what if I was just a pathetic little wormy guy? And I got to play that. So he signs up to be an expendable on this luxury cruiser that's going to inhabitate a new planet. They're going to be the first colonizers of this new planet. And an expendable is somebody who they kind of send to do random tasks. If they die, they reprint him. The metaphor is not lost on anybody that it's the basic principle of a corporation replacing you the moment you get fired, the moment they let you go, the moment you die. It's just the people you work for don't care about you, so you're very expendable. The title's expendable. You mean nothing, they don't care. And he is doing the thankless job, and it's about a guy realizing well, maybe there's more to life than what I'm doing, and what is the meaning of death? Which I think is a very, very important metaphor for this movie, and something that it just plays with perfectly is what is the meaning of life? When you know you're going to die and you can come back, does death or life itself have any meaning? When you see, and like, you know, like the farce is that two of them exist at the same time, when you now see that there's another clone of you and you exist, what does that mean when you die? Because now you know what awaits you, which is this thing that you can like tangibly see in front of you in the sky. Like, it's really brilliant, and it's really quiet about playing those themes. It's not like explicit. It's just, hey, this is a lot to deal with, isn't it? Like, it's kind of crazy what the things we're doing here. I really appreciate that. I think this is such a specific guy's vision, and I think it was just executed perfectly. The sets look really good. I think the costuming, while very basic science fiction, is very memorable. The designs are memorable. The characters are memorable. Everything feels like Bong Joon-Ho cashed in that check and said, okay, I'm just going to make like a weird, silly science fiction movie about the meaning of life and why Donald Trump is a terrible president. And look, I think this is a really interesting time in Hollywood for a couple of reasons. The two big blockbusters we had come out this year, Captain America and Mickey 17, they're two movies that almost feel very much like we're not going to elect Trump again, right? Like, they're movies made before Trump gets elected for his second term. And they're very much movies that feel like a filmmaker and a writer just being, we can't let this guy get in office again. And I think more so in this movie, where you have Mark Ruffalo, who's playing this like washed up celebrity who like couldn't win an election and has his supporters wear big red hats and like treat him like he's some genius celebrity when he's just like a scared little man child who like hides behind his wife to do all his ideas. And he's just enacts power by presenting power, uses like media and celebrity to boost his own ego, and he's leading this ship. And you're like, yeah, this is obvious who this is supposed to be. And it's obviously against this guy, and everyone thinks he's a loser, and the people start to realize he's kind of a loser with a big ego who can't do anything right. Ruffalo has been pretty good at playing a silly idiot lately. Poor Things is very similar in vein to this character. He's honed into something special. I think it's really cool to see. Like, I can't think of another actor of his generation who's like, I guess I'll be a loser who's kind of like horny, but also a big loser. It works so well. And Toni Collette is just amplifying his performance by being kind of smarter than him, but also worse than him in some ways. The perfect story of here's the elites and here's who they are above. Here is like the media sensation of a guy who's important and like his followers. Here's the corporation ruining the little guy that works for them. It's all there. We're all rooting for the underdog. It works really well. I think it's perfect in that aspect of just, here are some people, we know what their motivations are, there is some depth in there, but it doesn't have to be too over the top, and it works well. Naomi Ackie as well, I think she's fantastic. Her character is essentially the love interest, and she gets more to do, but I think it's just great how she's like, this is awesome. There's stuff going on around us. It's kind of messed up what's going on here, but I got a cool guy I'm in love with, and great stuff is happening for us. I think that looks really well, and that works well. Stephen Ewan, I really want him to do better stuff. I think he's really good in this, and when he, finds his role, he can really shine, and I think he shines really well here. I just can't understate or overstate how good Robert Pattinson is in this movie. When he fully lets himself be committed to a director, and we've seen it very recently with Matt Reeves when he worked with the Safdies, he is so good at just playing all angles, and he plays multiple different types of characters. All of them have different personalities and are very distinctive, and there's just a different body language and flow to it, but it's so clearly the same guy. It's very impressive and something not everybody can do, and he pretty much nails it on that aspect. And it's so interesting to see him play off himself, which I think is a really interesting task when you're an actor. How do you film like the dead space that's supposed to be you? When you know what you're going to do in this moment, how do you play off it in the other moment? That's not easy. And he pretty much nails it in the ways he has to. And overall, it's just a really fun, silly science fiction flick that works on every conceivable level. Is it perfect? Maybe not. There is a little bit of a drag here and there where I think kind of towards like the back half of the second arc, like, okay, we could cut out a couple minutes here. But then it pays off in some big ways with some really silly ideas and goes a little bit further than I was expecting it to. But the narration works. That's always a crucial thing in a movie like this. Can you have the narration work? It does. Can you have the metaphors work? They do. Can the actors make this feel like a believable world? And they do. It's a little bit easier to make it unbelievable when you're doing a comedy, but for the most part, about everything this movie is trying to accomplish, it feels real and realistic to the world it's set up. Over the top and zany, but not too over the top and zany. It's not as like self-serious as something like Okja or Snowpiercer or definitely Parasite. But those themes are still very prevalent, very aware of itself, and just, it's a guy using his budget well. Like, he's not doing like flashy camera tricks. There's some really cool long takes and visual gags that are very impressive, but it's just, I have the money. Let's use it to tell this story, take the time to tell this story, and let it play out as naturally and occurring as it could. I think that's very impressive and gets the job done. Is it the best film that Bong Joon-Ho has made? I don't think so. Is it his best English language film? You could make the argument. But as far as the year has shown us so far, it is the most competently made film, and one that has been worth the wait, because it's very exciting and funny and impressive on every feat. And that's the kind of thing I like to see, and I think a lot of people should see it too. It's worth it, and very, very fun. So, Mickey 17. I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.